Hi everyone, welcome back to the London Football Show. Before we get into sort of the latest football news and previewing the games, it's only right to introduce our guest. Hassan, how are you doing?
Morning. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, we're all good. Obviously, we've already discussed it off recording, but you can state the club you support. You can tell us a bit about yourself as well if you want.
Um, I grew up in Queens, New York. I'm British by birth. Been a Liverpool fan my whole life, and I coach and mentor at West Ham United Football Club.
Okay. Well, we'll start off with some Liverpool news. Obviously, we've all seen Klopp announcing that he's going to leave at the end of the season. How do you feel about that?
Well, you know what? Every great ride comes to an end. Nothing ever prepares you for it. But when I heard the news, I remembered I went back to his first press conference where he said Um, it's not the fanfare you get when you're coming in is not as important as the fanfare you get when you leave. So uh, just give us the time to do our job, and we should win something. And to tell you the truth, he's delivered between the football that's been played and the trophies. And I knew about him before he came to um, Liverpool because the only other two teams I watch outside of England are Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund. So I'd seen his brand of football way before he came to Liverpool, so I knew what was coming. So I've got no complaints except for my only worry is the same one I suppose United fans had when Sir Alex Ferguson left in 2013 is who is going to maintain that continuity of us being competitive. So I think that's the next challenge because if you look at the list of candidates, the younger ones are inexperienced, and the older ones, you could argue, maybe time has passed them by a little bit in terms of keeping up to with modern tactics and management. So we'll see. It's going to be an exciting time now. But as far as Klopp leaving, I got no regrets. I'm glad he was here.
Let's say
So
he goes on Liverpool, go on to like win the league. Obviously, you're still in all the cup competitions. Like if you win like two, three trophies, would part of you like hope at the end of the season he magically turns around and says, "Oh, I'll stay," or do you think it's time for it to hand over to someone else, and that'll be the perfect
I'm
time?
thinking he changes. I'm hoping he changes his mind right now with every match. I'm hoping he changes his mind. But yeah, if we win every trophy and that gives him, the impetus to keep going and then stay on. I think Alex Ferguson did that once where he said he was retiring or he was leaving, and then he changed his mind by the end of the season. So I would love. I'd be over the moon if that happens because you know the irony is the longer he stayed at Liverpool, the longer you thought he's actually going to leave someday, you know. So that time that he's in that announcement has come. So um, I don't know.
mm,
I
speak-
really don't know.
speaking of the timing, because it's a similar question that Sion just asked you, Hassan, and I'm quite keen to get your views on this, Hassan. Were you surprised at the timing of him telling like everyone that he was going? Do you think he could have left it another few months, or because like it sort of has brought in the question mark also? Like, so we had Klopp leaving all like last week, and everyone was shocked, and they were questioning the timing of telling everyone. And then this week, it's
Yeah.
been about a couple of players have come out and sort of made statements, and it's been taken out of context that like now all of a sudden Van Dijk might want to leave, other players might want to leave. So do you think the timing will have a positive effect that you could go on and win two or three out of the four trophies, or do you think it could sort of like end up sort of like if you go to the Carabao Cup final at the end of February and lose it, people might start saying like, okay, this is the Klopp effect of him going. They're getting nervous and all that. So do you think the timing of him announcing? I know he told the club back in November, but do you think the timing is a little bit unusual, or do you think it gives you time to prepare
I
as
think
a fan?
as a fan, I think he did the right thing because I do believe he would have put the club, certainly the players, in an awkward position if they got the announcement at the end of the season, because a lot of those players, yeah, some players, love. I reckon most love playing for Liverpool, but they probably wanted to play for Klopp as well. So if that's announced at the end of the future, players want to plan their futures as well. Um, at the same time, you know, players are signed, professionally to the by the club. They have a contract to fulfill, and I'm sure they would want to give as professional a performance as possible. Furthermore, I do believe, in players wanting to play for Klopp, they would want to give him a massive send off. So I think Klopp absolutely did the right thing. In Even if he told the club early, in the higher ups, if letting everybody know, putting it out in the open early on, I think
Mm.
is more of a benefit for the overall performance and ending the season on a good note. So
So, and you said something earlier on, which I'm now going to throw to Rasantham, because he's the only one that feels the pain. You said that Ferguson left it. What year did Ferguson leave? 2015?
2013.
2013. So Man United have gone 10 years of absolute disaster, Hassan. Rasantham, do you got any advice for Hassan that Liverpool could go 10 years of an absolute disaster trying to replace Klopp? Because Rasantham, I've been feeling for you for the last few years, man, I tell you. Because Liverpool could end up with another 10 years like Man United have just had.
Yeah, I don't mean to be shady towards Liverpool, but I don't think nothing against Klopp, but what Sir Alex Ferguson done for United, I don't think any manager can do. 20, 30 odd years of consistent top four finishes, Premier League titles here and every other year, constantly battling it out in the Champions League and in the domestic um, cup trophies. The thing I'll say with Liverpool is they've always somewhat managed to find their feet back. Even if it wasn't Klopp, back in the day was Kenny Dalglish, they had a slight little bit time off with Rodgers. I think they will find someone. I think they can come back. With United, I do believe no player, no manager is bigger than the club, but what Sir Alex Ferguson did came very close. Like you can't, there is no United without Sir Alex Ferguson. I'm sorry. You can say what you want, but that is crucial.
Yeah,
Mm.
no, I agree. I think you're spot on because I think you would more or less then link Klopp's departure as something similar to what Wenger did at Arsenal. Because Ferguson is unique. Ferguson is unique, one of the best managers ever, I think, ever, really. So if you look at what Man United did, okay, fair enough. But then look at what Arsenal did when they replaced Wenger. It took them a couple of times. So
yeah.
if we were to put you on the spot, Hassan, who's the next Liverpool manager? Do you have like who you want, and then do you have who you think it will end up being? Are they the same person or two different people?
Um, so I can't help but romanticize this. Everyone's talking about Xabi Alonso, and he's actually the one I would like to come back and take over from him, because of all the young up and coming managers, he seems to be the most prepared. Um, Also, he has an attachment to. I was upset when he transferred to Real Madrid, um, because I knew what a quality player he was, and he had a massive career. He also clearly prepared to be coach. He has his own philosophy. Um, but what concerns me about Alonso, if I'm looking at it, if I take my coach's hat on for just a moment, I don't think he needs to gain some experience. If we compare, say, if you take a look at Xavi, for example, at Barcelona, Xavi Hernandez, the coach who's departing at the end of the season, he developed his style coaching teams in Qatar, managing teams in Qatar, and then came to Barcelona. He still has to experience a learning curve, that comes with being a manager. That's kind of experience. And no disrespect to the Bundesliga, we all know Premier League's a different level. So he's gonna make there are some things he still may have to learn at the Premier League level. And who knows, he actually might be prepared. Who's to say? But the reality is at this point, this juncture, he hasn't won anything. He's playing a great brand of football. There's also talk about the small talk, but not really that big. The Girona manager, Michel. So because they've been lead, they're second right now, but they've led most of the season. So I think an experienced manager would need to come in. I think that's the smart step. But if Jabi Alonso is going to come in, they kind of have to give him the time that's needed, similar to the time that Arteta was given at Arsenal. However, I would like to add the difference between Arteta and Xabi Alonso is the fact that he was already working in the Premier League and assistant coach before he took over at Arsenal. So you could argue he was slightly more prepared than Xabi Alonso would be coming in, because he was at Manchester City under Guardiola, so he was more prepared. So Xabi Alonso is my choice, but that's my, as a fan, that's my choice. Probably not the smartest, but that's the one that I want.
No, that's good. What do you think, Sion? Who do you think could be next?
No, I agree with him. I think Xabi Alonso. I think that's the person a lot of Liverpool fans want. I think the most. I don't know. I've heard like Hansi Flick and a little bit. I don't know how Liverpool fans feel about that.
The only one I can think of, and I mentioned this to Hassan the other day, if you want someone with a Premier League experience who may have the same sort of style and the same sort of like know-how and coaching ability, is Thomas Frank, who's at Brentford. And I know people will laugh at that or say, what? But then he's done well with Brentford. And you imagine if he had the Liverpool players and the backing, Thomas Frank could be an outside bet. But I think Alonso's the one they're going to go. I think for any Liverpool fan, as long as you ain't got Steven Gerrard sitting in the dugout in August.
You know what? Yeah, if this was 2 years ago, when Gerrard was winning at Rangers and stuff like that, it would have been Gerrard. If this was 3 years ago. Remember when Gerrard was doing good?
If he was still at Rangers, finishing in the top two, getting to cup finals, and Klopp announces it, Liverpool fans would be calling for Gerrard.
Anyways, yes. If all else fails, bring back Mourinho.
Man. But obviously Liverpool, big game this weekend. Top of the table clash against Arsenal. I think personally, if Liverpool win, I think that knocks Arsenal out of the title race. Personally, I think a draw keeps them somewhat in it because I think they're 5 points behind, and then obviously an Arsenal win will keep them in it. What are our thoughts on that upcoming game? I'll start with Hassan, obviously, because we don't know. We know we've done our predictions, and then we'll talk about ours after. What your thoughts on that game? Obviously, beat us comfortably in the midweek. As soon as, obviously, I knew we were going to lose at Anfield anyways, but
here he goes, Hassan. Here he goes. He gets his excuses in now when he's talking Chelsea. I knew they were going
to lose. When they announced the news, I said, "Oh, well, they've got us next, so perfect game for them to obviously give. This is the start of the farewell, so I knew we were going to lose." But yeah, Liverpool, they were outstanding against us. Obviously, there's the penalty claims, which I'm not going to go too much into because it wouldn't have made a difference to the final scoreline anyways. Because Nunes alone should have scored about 4 or 5. So I'm just grateful, to be honest, it wasn't more. And I know some of our fans, some of our shameless fans, like, oh, but if they gave us that, it could have been different. Wouldn't have been a different game. So 4-1, just pack our bags and leave. But yeah, Hassan, going back to you.
You lost 4-1. Did you lose 4-1?
Yeah, we all watched it.
Oh, 4-1. Yeah, but it's understandable because it was Klopp's game. He's only
No. We're a disgrace. Oh, Chelsea. No, I'm not going to get started on Chelsea. We're a disgrace.
Hassan, would you take a point now against Arsenal? Would you take a point?
No, he wouldn't. No, there's no way he would take.
Hassan, would you take a point now, or are you confident going to the Emirates?
I'm absolutely confident. I'm confident. I'm pretty confident because Liverpool are motivated to run over everyone right now, at least in the immediacy, with the news and everything. And so I'm sure they've already been talking amongst themselves or management about how they're probably expected to fall apart, or this, Mo Salah's missing, there are many other things. So they're going to feel like there's nothing a team with their back against the wall can be a very motivated team. Furthermore, I still don't see. Arsenal always perform great against the mid-table teams, but when you sort of see that level drop just a little bit in mentality when they face the Man Cities, the Liverpools, so
The West Hams.
yeah, they're not ready. They're gonna. I think that title will probably come if they're consistent enough, but they're still learning. They're not ready to win all the way yet. They're not ready. You don't. There are so many matches where even sometimes when they play well, there's never a sense that okay, they're gonna take this game. And I can't remember too many matches where against the big teams anyway, where they'll go down
Yeah.
and they come back.
No,
You
yeah,
know.
they struggled against us when we beat them at the Emirates just
Yeah.
before Christmas.
So
But yeah,
until those things happen,
obviously for me, my views on this game, because obviously it's not the biggest game of the weekend. The biggest game of the weekend is at Old Trafford on Sunday,
Nah, nah,
just a
nah.
couple of hours before. Yeah, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Nah,
If you
nah,
want
nah.
my opinion, I
Nah,
think
nah. It's
Sion
Arsenal
said
Liverpool,
something.
man. It's Arsenal Liverpool,
Sion
man.
said, no.
Nah,
People
nah.
watch at 2 o'clock. People watch at 2 o'clock and get switched off by 5 o'clock because the game will be
We'll
boring
see. We'll
at
see
the
the
Emirates.
viewing numbers for
At the
the
Emirates.
games, and
At the
then we'll see.
Emirates.
We'll see.
But I
We'll
think
see
I
what
agree
the
with
game scores
Sion.
got.
I agree with Sion, and I don't very rarely say that often. So I agree with Sion about
He
the
always
fact that
agrees with me, but deep down he'll never
I,
say it. Don't
I
worry to
think
our viewers. Don't worry.
yeah, all right. Who's winning the predictions at the moment? Yeah,
Oh, yeah, but
quite
I've already secured one.
quite
You're talking
comfortably,
about ifs and
quite
maybes.
comfortably.
I might win
Um,
this.
but if Arsenal lose, they're out of the title race for me. So I do agree with Sion. I think if Arsenal lose, then I don't see them winning the title at all. And then I think it's just Man City or Liverpool. But yeah, so I've already predicted my score. I can't remember what the scoreline was, but I've gone for a draw. I think I might have gone 2-2.
Yeah, I'll read out the scores and then I'll get Hassan. He can give his prediction as well. So Resamphan's gone.
1-2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, 2-1 Liverpool. James, you've gone 2-2, and I've gone 1-1. Hassan, your prediction for the game.
I have two on Liverpool.
Yeah.
2-1
Yeah.
Liverpool.
I have
Okay,
two
yeah.
on I have two on Liverpool as well. I think that you know, also are gonna come out, blazing, but I'm pretty sure I have a pretty good idea that, Liverpool can exploit them at the back. I don't think, where Liverpool gets more goals out of midfield now. One of the problems we had post that Wijnaldum period, the James Milner period, is we failed to get goals out of midfield. That's changed now, so we're much more formidable going forward. Whoever the attacking five with Szoboszlai, with his Gravenberch, or you can expect goals from them as well as the front three. So Arsenal is not stopping Liverpool. I don't think so.
Oh,
You know.
bold. All right.
Fair enough. Okay, moving on, Resamphan. Obviously a 7-goal thriller in midweek. Kobbie Mainoo, he's been your player of the month. I know he got awarded that. I like him a lot, but yeah, you talk about Kobbie Mainoo and the game in midweek.
Yeah, I mean, I'm delighted with the result as a United fan, as I should be, but I mean, the game itself, it wasn't a bad game. I don't think we played too bad, but the result makes it look like we got away with murder. And I watched parts of the game. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole game, but we went 2-0 up. Then we brought it to 2-1. Then we restored the lead 3-1. You thought, okay, so I think 75th minute, 3-1, just wrap up the game, call it a day. Good away game against Wolves. Then we proceeded to bottle this, lose the lead twice, and then it took Kobe an excellent goal, well taken by the way, to win us the game. I think I'm still worried. I've not changed my opinion, my thoughts. That result does not change how I feel about this club right now, how we've been playing. I mean, I think if you look on the group chat, I predicted the Wolves win. I still
Yeah.
have faith in us winning games. That game does not mean that I'm going to predict West Ham to win. I think I went 2-2 West Ham purely because we're at Old Trafford.
Mm,
Can easily see us
yeah.
lose the game as well. I just don't have the confidence. I don't have the confidence
What
to say that we can beat teams like Wolves that are mid-table, if not bottom third.
What's your take on the Rashford situation? Were you surprised I presume he started because he scored in the 5th minute.
Yep.
Were you
Yes.
sort of like pleased for him in one way? Was it all blown up out of proportion, the stuff that went off in Belfast or whatever? Like,
I think
is it another false start for him, or is he going to go on and start scoring and get back to the old Rashford?
let's get this straight. I think Rashford for me, I know it's being harsh, but I think it's when I say finished, he will never reach the potential heights that he once did. I was just thinking about him as an 18-year-old, almost this time 6 years ago, I think, 6 years ago, coming into the United squad, bagging a brace against Midtjylland, next game, bagging a brace against Arsenal. People had high hopes. I think I might have mentioned to either one of you privately, if you told me that in 2020, when we had, or 2018, when we had Rashford and Martial, and then I'll be like, oh, sorted, next 10 years, we've got a legacy. Look at us now. Martial nowhere to be seen. Injury every week. Rashford is inconsistent. So for me personally, I think Rashford needs to find another route in terms of go to another club, maybe start fresh. I think
PSG.
you can argue
PSG would
because
definitely
the
PSG would
pressure,
definitely
the
be silly
whole
enough
the
to buy
golden
him.
boy status. Um, in terms of the situation, for my personal opinion, I think there is a lot of expectation on footballers. When you think about it, footballers don't really have time to themselves apart from the summer break. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, they're footballers. Yes, anyone would trade positions with them. But when you look at it, it is a job. They are an employee of the club. They are getting paid. They only get what 1 month off in the summer, and even that is only if there's no summer national competitions. So it is a bit harsh. But at the same time, Rashford should know better as one of the senior members of the squad that's been here for a long time. You know, I'm sure the youngsters, the youth team might look up to him, players around him in his own squad, might call him a leader or see him as a leader. It is a bad look, unfortunately. You can't twist that or manipulate that, no matter how much the media does. You know to yourself what you did was wrong. And again, slightly to just go off on a tangent, you can give as much fines as you like, but we know the reality is they have too much money. Fines won't hurt them. Something else needs to be done. Some sort of other action needs to be taken because these punishments, they're just not good enough. Otherwise, players like Rashford wouldn't have that fit mentality or fear mentality to go out and go clubbing and call in sick and whatnot.
Just quickly, I've got a question for Xanthan, but just on his point, I do agree with him in terms of when I saw a story saying like when Sir Alex was in charge, apparently he had like all the landline, the pubs like owners, like all their like numbers and stuff like that for them to inform him who's on a night out and stuff like that. Obviously,
Absolutely.
you can forgive,
Yes.
yeah, you can forgive them more back in the day because obviously they were still winning. But I saw a story, I think, I don't know, was it Giggs and someone, they were at a pub and then Ferguson turned up or something like that, and people, or like a house party, and then people like players had to be running out the back door, jumping over fences to escape and stuff like that because of how terrified they were. But obviously they were winning back then, so fans can somewhat forgive that. But I think with the Rashford case, it's more magnified because obviously not doing well now. So I do feel for him a little bit, but at the same time, I'm like, nah, when your club's in the mud like that, you need to keep it low key, I think. You can't be getting yourself in the headlines like that for the Belfast, Thursday night train, and you got training on Friday morning. But obviously, I think Ten Hag, apparently, he got dropped for the Newport game. Apparently, that was the punishment because that's the only game in between when it happened and the Wolves game, which he
Mm.
obviously scored in. But
And
yeah,
he was very sketchy on his reply to the reporters when he was asked at that game, Ten Hag, about Rashford.
mm,
He said it's an internal matter. I think he said he
yeah,
was ill, or illness or something.
You
yeah,
are
he
that's
was.
what Rashford claimed. But yeah, I mean, again, I think when you think about United, it's always going to get blown out of proportion. We're a big club. I mean, the minute you put Man United in the headline, you've got views.
Mm.
It's clickbait. I'm sorry, it is what it is. We are one of the biggest clubs, and unfortunately, that works against us because newspaper, news articles, all these media sites can use that to their advantage. One thing I
Do
would
you know
like to
what?
point out, sorry.
Go on, I was going to say, do you know how long Rashford's got on his contract, or is it up at the end of the season? Like,
I
Will he
think,
go at the end of the season?
He not signed a new deal.
yeah, he signed a new deal at the end
Have
of
he?
last
Oh,
season. So, yeah.
okay.
But
Hassan,
So he
and
won't go.
you have
with
anything to add,
mentioning how
Hassan,
Seal
on the
mentioned
Rashford
about it
story?
being internal, I mean, where was the treatment for Sancho like this? It
Yeah, yeah,
shows
that was one
Ten
of
Hag
my
has
thoughts as
favourites.
well.
It shows Ten Hag has favourites. I'm sorry, but it
Yeah.
does.
Did
You
Ten
can't treat
Hag, I
one
think,
player
did
like this
someone?
and one player like another. It's inconsistent.
They've
If
ruined
you
that
don't like the
boy.
player,
Man
make him
United
play.
have ruined Sanchez. I'll tell you, they've ruined him.
Someone just brought up my point. I was going to bring up Sancho. I said, did Sancho do anything nearly as bad as this? Uh, you know, we don't know, but he's out. The reality is he's out on loan. And Rashford went to, you know, as a fan of a rival club, this is how I mean. First of all, let's just look at I know they won the other day against Forest, but when no matter any manager that comes in until they start winning regularly, you're in no position. Always gonna be compared to the Ferguson years, right? Ferguson, win or lose, you could always see what they were trying to do. You could see that they were always going at their opponents. You could always see they took no prisoners at home. You could always see the fight back. Sometimes they won, sometimes they lost. And the mentality was always there. The mentality was always strong, even when they lost. And they were quick to criticize each other, even before the media did it. They always, when they were winning, they always took accountability for their bad performances. What's Part of it is a social media era, I presume, but what's going on here is I can't even tell on the field. I can't even tell what they're trying to do a lot of the time. I could see that they're passing the ball around and stuff like that, and but the reality is, offensively, I can't see what they're trying to do. I Suffice to say, um, players like Rashford, like Sancho, you know, uh, don't want to stop picking on players here and there. Varane, and their presence is not what I've expected it to be. Players that I always expected to carry the team, or push the team forward. I don't really see them doing it. I mean, I'm sorry to say, at Manchester United, with the payroll and the stars that they have there, your standout player should not be an 18-year-old who's
Yeah, exactly.
he's probably still the least paid on the team. Your standout player should not be an 18-year-old academy graduate. You know, so you know, I mean, we're probably gonna find out years from now what really happened behind the scenes. But one of the things that used to happen in the Ferguson era, if a player did something off the field that shouldn't have been done, the player was dropped immediately. There was no there was no discussion, about it. And then, most of the time it was handled internally. I think Eric Ten Hag, one of his main issues is I think he criticizes publicly a little bit too much. I think if you're going to criticize the player, do it in the background, you know, and then keep it mute to the press. Because I'm pretty sure Jurgen Klopp, for example, I mean, all managers, I'm pretty sure they've had stuff to say to different players at some point or another, where but they handle it internally, and then they get past it, and everybody remembers their jobs. So I think it starts with the management, um, and the leadership. But furthermore, if I'm gonna talk about Rashford himself, I don't understand when they brought in what's the new striker they brought in from Italy?
Hoyland. Hoyland.
I have no idea why they brought that guy in, because they have Rashford. They had Rashford, they have Sancho, they have White. Why did they bring that guy in? Because I think Rashford has the full profile to play down the middle, you know, and he can be dynamic and move around as so need be. Tactics allow for that. But, you know, to me, he's never been a winger. I never understood. I mean, when players start out, if you want to say Thierry Henry or whoever who have a similar profile, when they came out, they started playing wide, and then after a while, they moved into the middle. he's built for the middle. I've never understood why he still plays wide. In my opinion,
Well,
he's not even a winger. He should be playing down the middle. He's
mm,
in a position where he can actually carry the team, or carry some of the more of the burden of the goals. And I think that's where his focus should be. So, but when players do stuff like go off to Belfast and stuff like that, when in the season where you have matches going on, I think they're doing it because you're getting away from the stress of the workplace. you know, because it's probably not an atmosphere that
that's a good
stress
point
free.
because you wouldn't want to leave that atmosphere if it was good. If training,
Yeah,
if the vibes in training and training was good and everything was good, you would want to be going away for 24 hours, 48 hours to get away from
yeah,
it because you'd be looking forward to the next training session and all that. Well, all I can say is, Hassan, I agree with you. And let's hope Rashford plays even further wider on Sunday off the pitch somewhere, wide in the stand.
We'll go on. Segueing into the Man United West Ham game, we'll end the show
Yes.
on that. The preview for that, Rosanfin and James, how are you feeling for that game? Obviously, Rosanfin as the home team,
Well. Go on. Let Sam go first. Then go
and
on.
we'll give our predictions to wrap
I
up.
mean, like I said, the expectations, the bar, everything's been dropped for this season. At this rate, I'm just here to see what United can accomplish. Like, how far can they, but I guess exceed my expectations in a bad way. Like I said, I've got no hope for this game. Okay, I've got faith, obviously, as a United fan, I should, but as a football fan, as a fan of the game, I don't see us winning that game. If we played anything like Wolves and West Ham, learn from how we played in that game and exploit our weaknesses, 100% West Ham can come in for the win. I
Oh,
predicted
oh,
2-2, but I only said that purely because
but
it
they're
was.
playing at home.
Yeah, I'm the only
They're
one.
still
Yeah.
playing at home.
Hassan, I'm the only one that said United win.
yeah. Hang on. Yeah. Because
Come on, James.
the Samson's honest. Like he's just setting me up to look stupid. I think. Right. No, I'm very joking. No, I agree. Like the problem we've got West Ham at the moment is that David Moyes in the Premier League is unbeaten in the last 6 Premier League games. Okay, I don't see Man United. I can't remember the last time Man United won 2 Premier League games in a row. I may be wrong, but
Good point.
it
No,
very
I don't
rarely
know.
happens. Their inconsistency is sort of, not there. They've scraped through the FA Cup, the third round, and then the fourth round. They drew with Tottenham. They beat Wolves. I thought they were comfortably beating Wolves when I left the press box on Thursday evening,
Yeah.
having watched a disastrous 1-1 draw against Bournemouth for West Ham. I think Man United were 3-1 up. By the time I got downstairs, it was 3-3. I was like, what's happened?
Yeah.
And then they managed to score a last minute winner in the 98th,
97th
whatever
minute.
minute it was for added time, Fergie time again, just because he was in the stand. They wanted to play Fergie time. Don't ask me why. But anyway, Man United West Ham on Sunday. I've asked a question to Hassan earlier on. I would probably take a point now before the even game starts because I want to keep that unbeaten record and I want to just keep that distance with 6th place. That gap between 5th and 6th is growing and the gap between
Right.
6, 7, and 8 is getting shorter. So I'll take a point, but I will say this: if Kelvin Phillips starts, I'll be surprised. I think Moyes may bring him on. Phillips will want to play being a Man City player. That'd be interesting to see how he plays at Old Trafford. Kudus looks good. Zuma was a little bit out of favour, but we need something more on the left-hand side. He played too many central midfielders on Thursday. Ward-Prowse, Souček, Alvarez, then Kelvin Phillips. There was 4 of them playing in really only 2-man positions. We had nothing really left or right. And Jared Bowen was a little bit, do I stay up the top or do I go out wide? But I think he'll get it right, Moyes. I think it'll be an entertaining game. But I think West Ham could nick it. But if I'm honest, I think most West Ham fans would love the journey, love to go to Old Trafford, but take a point before the game kicks off, I think. But who knows what will happen. But yeah,
Go on,
we'll see what happens.
Hassan. We'll end the show. Sorry, on your prediction.
Yeah. I'm predicting 2-1 West Ham.
Oh wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow.
I don't know if that's him being nice to me or whether that's his Liverpool coming in. I'm not too sure.
No, I think
Could be a bit of both. Could be a bit of both. He don't want to. He don't want to. He
because
don't want to hit Man United because he's Liverpool, and he wants to have a good day on Tuesday when he comes to work with me. Yeah.
because I think West Ham are a little bit little bit underrated offensively, especially when you take a look at Kudus and who's still pretty unpredictable. He's a relatively new player. To your point, I think you mentioned earlier, Calvin Phillips might not play that much, but I think they've got some good. Kudus alone, and whoever else
Bowen,
starts.
Bowen,
Yeah.
man, dangerous guy,
No,
Yeah.
man.
because and when you go to places like Old Trafford, you need to have someone like Ward-Prowse who can
Yes.
give a corner or a free kick. You've got that in the locker if you need it. When you go to these big grounds like the Emirates,
Yeah.
Anfield, Old Trafford. Oh, sorry, I was going to say another one, but they're not as big now, are they? Stamford Bridge.
You know, I already knew that was coming. I
When we
already
go
knew where
to
that was
them
going. I
places,
saw that coming.
when we
Saw
go
that
to
coming.
them places, we need a Ward-Prowse. So maybe it could be 1-1 with a minute to go, and Ward-Prowse gets a free kick and scores it at the Stretford end, and West Ham win 2-1.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fair,
And
I
then
mean,
everyone will be happy, and then they're turned off by the time Arsenal Liverpool come to play at 4:30. Yeah.
for the record, I've predicted 3-1 United. I think I'm the only one. Yeah, but fair enough. We got two draws.
That's
Hassan's
in
gone one
spite
way.
of
I've
me.
gone the other.
Yeah, that's to spite me.
No, I'm just trying to play safe. For me, like United at
Yeah,
Old
you
Trafford.
need to catch up. You need
I've
to
gone
catch
safe.
up with me. That's why
I've
you were
gone safe.
desperate for me to get my predictions in
Listen,
before
man.
you, so
Listen,
you could then
we got
sort of
4 weeks to go. It's a long way to go,
go,
man. Long way.
go opposite. Go
4 weeks,
opposite.
man. 4 weeks.
Good chat, good chat. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Liverpool, Klopp long term. I think Man United could be back. They just need to sort their sort of. Who was that player that scored his very first goal and had his first assist in the FA Cup? He's practically played
Kobe
most of the
Mainu.
season.
Kobe Mainu.
No. It was it. Who was it? Anthony? No, not Anthony. Who was the player who scored at
Oh, yes,
Liverpool?
Anthony.
Was it
Oh, Anthony.
Anthony? His first goal of the season, his first assist of the season. That probably sums up Man United. But anyway, we're drifting on.
Just a quick thing to add. Obviously, Hassan spoke about it briefly earlier. In terms of an 18-year-old being their best player, Kobe Mainu, he's actually their player of the season. Like if you run through all their star names, Varane obviously he's been injury prone, but funny enough, Varane's actually been fit this season. But I remember the game where Ten Hag before the Manchester derby about tactical reasons. So him and Varane, obviously with the fallout, he's not really played consistently. Casemiro's
Right.
been injured. Bruno. He's been out of sorts. Obviously, Rashford, the goals have dried up for him. Kobe Mainoo, when you actually run through the whole squad, he is their player of the season. Genuinely, he's going to actually win it.
Yeah,
An
yeah,
18-year-old. I find that incredible. Manchester
which
United.
as Hassan said, that's the point. It shouldn't be that at that
Yeah.
level of that team of that stature, meant to be one of the world top teams. It shouldn't be like that. It's good for him.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's fantastic for him. But then the question mark is, he could be the player of the season this season. But as Vasantham said about Rashford when he was 18, 19, where will this lad be in 5 years' time? Will he still be, a bit part player at Man United, struggling for form and all that? They've got to be careful. But it's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting few weeks, I think.
Yeah.
Now that
And just
transfer
one quick
window.
thing I want to add about Manchester United. It would be disappointing if they bring in another midfielder, to fortify, they sign him for X amount, and then they keep him there and he's not a starter. So they've got to let that kid grow.
Yeah.
He should be enough now. He should be enough to be a starter regular. They don't need to spend 50 million on someone else.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Unless they want Thomas Souček. Unless they want Thomas Souček as a midfielder, you can have him for 50 million.
I think
Do you want Thomas Souček? Because we've got Ward-Prowse, Alvarez. It's like Chelsea. Chelsea is still coming in for Antonio. He just turned them down. Antonio turned them
Chelsea,
down.
ignore Ross, man. Bro, Todd Bowley, he's just a madman. Ignore Ross. When we say we're linked, if anything, that guy, man, we have no strategy, so forget us.
Right. What's the lunchtime kickoff now? Is it Everton?
Everton Spurs. Do you want me to run? Should I run through like what we predicted for that?
Big game. Let's get Hassan's views on a few of that. Tell Hassan our predictions on a couple of the games.
Yeah, so Hassan, so for our viewers, that not aware, we're doing like predictions this season. We're predicting all 10 results for all the game weeks, and we're obviously playing for money. We're splitting it
Okay.
into like three parts of the season. If you get obviously the correct score for a game, it's 3 points. The correct outcome, but not the correct score, is a point. And then obviously if you get it
Okay.
wrong, no points. But then the last
Mhm.
game, the plot twist is the last game of every week is the 5 point game. So if you get the correct score for that, instead of 3 points, it's 5 points. So maybe next season you can get involved into it. We've done 10
Oh,
pound, £10, and then £40. The last part of the season is the accumulated of all three, not just the final part of the season. So
Mm.
James is obviously leading this section. This one finishes in February, so I have a 5 point gap to try make up. I won the first tenner of the season.
okay.
I think Razanfan and my dad, they're spectating the title race between me and James. That's the only title race I'm in this season. That's the only thing I'm in. So yeah, so I'm
That
paying
sounds
close
fun.
attention to our
Okay.
predictions. Yeah, so next season, if you can get involved, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, get involved next season would be
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah, it's the four of
All
us this
right,
season,
listen,
us three and my dad.
it's been good. What was the quick one? The first game, Everton Tottenham. What did we go for?
Yep. So I'll get it up now. So I've gone 2-1 Everton. Razanfan's gone 2-0 Spurs, and you've gone 3-1 Spurs. Hassan, what do you think about that game?
Oh, 2-0 Spurs. I
2-0 Spurs.
trust Spurs. Yeah. Son
Okay,
is
fair
not there, I don't think, but I still think they're gonna come out with the goals.
enough.
Yeah,
I still think
they've
I
got.
like the way that I like the way that they play.
He's
I
another
do
good
like the way
manager.
that they play.
He's another good manager.
I like
I
Ange.
hate to say that 'cause I can't pronounce his surname without seeing
Ange,
it
Ange
written down.
Postecoglou.
Popular,
Postecoglou, yeah.
popular. That's
Yeah,
very
and
good
then
manager.
we'll do the
Very
the
good
5 point
manager.
game as well. The
Anyway,
five point
lads,
game.
go on.
The 5 point game before we wrap up the Brentford Man City. Hassan, what do you think about that game? Score predictions.
Brentford, Man City. Wow. It's a, have fun, Brentford. It's over. I'm gonna say 4-0.
Oh
Yeah, I'm gonna
wow.
say 4-0.
Yeah, that's the 5 point game this week. So if anyone gets the correct score in that, James, you've
Yeah, I think
gone
with Haaland
4-1.
back.
Yeah, you've gone 4-1 Man
Yeah,
City. Razamfan's gone.
I think I've gone 3-1.
4-1.
You've gone 3-1. I've gone 2-0 Man City.
Yeah.
But yeah, is there anything to add before we wrap up?
Yeah, Haaland's back. Haaland hat trick. Yeah, Haaland hat trick. No, it's good chat. Good chat. Let's hope it's a good weekend of football.
Yeah,
Yes.
Hassan, pleasure having you on. We'll definitely
Thanks for
get you
having
back.
me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring you back. Like your football knowledge, so we'll bring you back in a few weeks for sure. Maybe the Carabao Cup final, maybe once you've beaten us, maybe.
All
Yeah.
right. As long as
But
it's a good match.
yeah, everyone, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you all again soon. Take care.
Thank you. Bye bye.